on fire. So they're engorging themselves. They're eating so much, their bellies are pushing out, and they can't quite curl into the C shape and sting us. So it's very, very convenient to say the least. But what we're going to do is go through this hive right here. I call them Hive A because they're the first one in all of our rows, A, B, C. But they're also a very active hive, very busy. They're doing a great job. So what I'm going to do is check out on them. Hey girls, how's it going? I'm going to leave my smoker out here and I'm going to pry this open. Does anyone know what it's all glued together with?
Honey.
Wax and resin from the trees. It's a new substance that starts with a P. Antineropolis. Tells me none of you guys are beekeepers. Not yet, you're working on it. It's called propolis, a forgotten bee substance. This is antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobial. It's all this sticky resinous stuff on the outside. It was our first cavity filler. Being antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobial, it keeps the house clean. Right? And what we're going to do is lay this hive right out in the back. I'm laying it in the back. Usually I lay it in front because I don't know if I'm going to have to reorganize this or not later. So we're going to hit them a little bit of smoke. Hello ladies, long time no see. Tell me all about it later. Good to hear, good to hear. They're all going to move down and out of the way. And now when I pry open this box, it's going to be a lot easier for me to see everything, a lot easier for me to move through. Right? Because one, there aren't bees everywhere. Two,
Where'd you get that tool?
this one I got it from Japan. This is it's called Bee Benefit, a Japanese beekeeping company.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's just got a little bit of everything.
That's cool.
Yeah, right? It's got a little hammer on it. It's got a little pry bar, just like the other one, but it's also got this hook on it so I can get in there and not be so dramatic when I'm pulling things apart. Feliz cumpleaños, feliz cumpleaños.
Wow.
We're gonna see more. There's just two coming out right here, just two little adults. See here, just right there. Nice and wet and soft. And when they first get out, they're all hard. They're all soft. Every single one that's capped usually has a pupa in it. The ones that aren't capped and that have larvae in them, like the ones in between these, will be our very, very young babies. Yes. We'll let this one come out first because this one's still lazy. Look at it.
How long did they stay in there for?
Gestation period is about 21 days.
Okay.
Right? And then when they come out,
When the egg is laid to when they come out as
a full-grown adult, yes. And during that time period, they're pampered. They're taken care of. They get their own room. They get their own place to stay. They get fed a lot of really good food. For weeks, I've been trying to put this frame in here, and they won't do anything with it. So what I finally did is I popped out the foundation, this little middle piece over here, and now they're liking it a lot better. It's been about 5 days, and they've already built out comb.
So
right,
they're in the process of building it out.
Of building out beeswax. And beeswax is an excretion from the bees' bellies, right? They, instead of becoming big, strong bees and they eat food, they excrete out wax cells, right? So when they're eating extra food, they have
cut a cocoa pod, you take your cutting implement, in this case little meat cleavers, you strike the pod, you're turning it. So you're just penetrating or cutting through the wall of the pod without cutting into the beans. Then when you breach the pod, it reveals the cocoa beans. Now these cocoa beans have no semblance of a taste or smell of chocolate whatsoever. They're very citric, very sweet, very clean to the sense of taste as well as smell. And notice the thick wall pod, 90% of the weight is in the pod itself. Some of the wall structures can be as much as a ½ inch thick. But the pod was designed that way for a reason, in order to entomb the beans in an airtight container, so that none of the atmospheric conditions could penetrate through that thick wall of the pod, adversely affecting the condition of the cocoa beans before they were officially opened. Mother Nature decided to put a white, slimy coating on every bean. That's what the gecko likes to eat. It's a sugar yeast mucilage coating known as Puma, P-U-M-A. Mother Nature put that white, slimy coating on every bean for a reason. And she knew as man evolved through the years, they would eventually figure it out. And they did. The beans are now exposed to the environment. In the environment, it's the oxygen. The oxygen in the environment becomes the catalyst that precipitates the yeast in the coating to start converting sugar to alcohol to CO2. That's your basic fermentation chemical reaction. The subtle byproduct of that chemical reaction is heat. So as these beans are now exposed to the environment as well as the oxygen in the environment, they will eventually start to ferment. And as they start to ferment, each one of these beans have been given the ability to be able to take the byproduct of heat from the chemical reaction that's occurring and direct that heat to the surface of the bean, creating a surface heat known as ectothermal energy. Mother Nature gave these beans the ability, once they introduced to the environment, they can generate their own surface heat and heat themselves up for one reason, to take that white slimy coating off. Now once the white slimy coating is off, it reveals a rusty colored shell, which you can attest all the beans in the drying bins that you won't buy. Immediately under that rusty colored shell is the pure meat of the chocolate known as the chocolate nib. N-I-B, the chocolate nib is the pure meat of the chocolate, and this is what goes into your bods when you eat chocolate. It's what chocolate's made out of. As I mentioned, the orientation, this bean started out naturally with a beautiful purple color, and when it fully ferments and oxidizes, it changes from purple almost to this black chocolate. Now in the nib there are polyphenols, antioxidants, phenolic acid, flavonoids that are very beneficial for human consumption. So you should eat a little bit of dark chocolate every day of your life. Now some people prefer the milk chocolate. If you're a milk chocolate eater, you're getting the natural polyphenols that are naturally in the meat of the chocolate. But once milk is added as an ingredient to categorically make milk chocolate, milk serves as an inhibitor to the free expression of the natural polyphenol. For some people to eat chocolate, they may have a tendency to sneeze. Some may have a tendency to cough. Some may develop a little bit of itchy nose syndrome. Some may develop a little bit of nasal congestion. Some may even experience hiccups. But the most common reactionary effects for some people to eat chocolate are migraine headaches. We had a lady visit us from Denver, Colorado some time back. She says, ordinarily, I do not eat chocolate because I don't relish having a headache, so to speak. So, but she says, you're telling me this is special chocolate, so I want to go on record as sampling. She had a piece of chocolate in one hand and a Tylenol in the other. And as soon as she put the chocolate on her palate, in due time she was experiencing the effects of a dull headache. 20% of the world does not eat chocolate, and it's not by choice. It's due to the adverse effects of a very strong stimulant. Now once the beans are fully manipulated out of the pod with your fingers, it exposes what is known as the fibrous membrane. This is the membrane that the beans were attached to for 65 days and turned the pod for ripening on the tree. This is all Dante in texture, very citric and sweet, and these are eaten as snacks throughout the equatorial regions throughout the world. In fact, we eat some of these every time we extract the beans. I will probably eat this one after the tour. We sent about 7 pounds of these last year during the chocolate festival at the Jackie Lau. Jackie Lau is the chef de cuisine for Roy Yamaguchi that owns Roy's Restaurants. For the chocolate festival, she made a sorbet and a cake icing out of these fibrous membranes. We called it a stem cell icing. so they're getting a little more adventurous to make food items out of these rather than just eating them or throwing them away. Alton Brown was here from the Food Channel a few years back, and he's finishing out one of the shows on the Food Channel he was hosting at the time called Good Eats. He dedicated the last show to Good Eats to chocolate. So he traveled out from Atlanta to visit us. We introduced surface heat and sweat their white coatings off. Now this is where the acetic, lactic, and citric acids are created during the fermenting process, killing the beans and ultimately stimulating the flavor. The fermenting process is a 6-day process. When the beans are fully fermented, ready to come out of the fermenter and go into the sun, they're plump in moisture, 50% moisture. We have to reduce the moisture content from 50 down to 7. Takes 22 to 28 days in the constant sun. Alrighty, now these are the holding tanks. This is where we temporarily store the chocolate after it's made in the punch. We make a milk chocolate, we pump it to this tank. If it's dark, we pump it to the white tank. Now from the larger tank, we incrementally pump 200 pounds of chocolate into these 200-pound tempering kettles. When we start the tempering process, we turn the temperature selector down, activate the paddle, which we've done now to demonstrate how we set the chocolate in motion. Then we start circulating cool water through a water jacket. The continuous flow of the cool water through the water jacket will gradually cool the body of the chocolate down very slowly, stabilizing those cocoa butter crystals. It takes 2.5 to 3 hours to temper 200 pounds of chocolate. Now once the chocolate is made, we engage the jogger table. Now what the jogger table does is jog the mold on the surface of the table, evenly distributing the liquid chocolate in the cavity mold, and the jogging effect also eliminates any air bubbles. So it's a nice smooth surface. The liquid chocolate then comes through these molds, going these pastry sheets right behind me, then roll through that door behind you into a cold room. Now the cold room's at a controlled environment, 50% humidity, 64 degrees Fahrenheit. The chocolate enters the cold room as a liquid configured chocolate. But with the additives, the finished product from the tree, respecting the garden chocolate there, milk here. If this top is off today, this is where everybody likes to exercise their index. We had a gentleman off the cruise a couple weeks back. He said, "You take that top off, give me a straw, I can empty that in 30 minutes." And we had a gentleman off on the other cruise. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a piece of Hawaiian crumb. He said, "I saved this from the breakfast. Can I dip that in there?" I said, "No, you can't dip that in there. This is not fondue chocolate." So for me, folks, it's been a pleasure. We extend you out warm.